Please welcome the lovely Paige Turco. Paige, what an absolute honor to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me on your show.
I'm going to say this up front. You are my favorite April O'Neil of all time.
Thank you.
Truly. You've done movies, television. This is going to be such a great episode for anyone that wants to be an actress or an actor, because you've done it all at all different facets and levels. And there truly are differences to television and film and the way those things work out as well. So we can talk about that as well. But let's take it back to the beginning on how you got into acting. You started in theater. How did you get into everything, you know?
I actually was a classical ballet dancer.
Oh, awesome.
And went to a performing arts high school for dance. And then had an injury, kind of a common injury. Now they can do surgery for it. But at the time, you were just done. And then because I was at a performing arts high school, they put me into an acting class. And I thought, I could also hear the music from the dance room. So it was a little torturous. But honestly, I kind of was like, whoa, what am I doing here? Like, they put a paper plate and I'm lying there and I'm thinking, they said, you're just born. And I remember going, I just want to be dancing. Because that was my way of expression. So,
yeah.
And then I went to college and talked my way in and fibbed a little that I had actually done theater, which I hadn't. And couldn't, as a clumsy dancer, couldn't make an entrance during a performance or during rehearsal for a performance. And my timing was just off. And so I basically transitioned by doing musical theater because I could still dance with, you know, with my injury. It was difficult, but it was something that I could do. So it was more about not getting into acting, but being able to find an outlet to dance.
Yes, yes.
And did summer theater. Actually, Nathan Lane did summer theater. It was in Chatham.
Oh, nice.
I don't think it exists anymore in Chatham, New York. And did a chorus line and played Val. So
okay,
that's, I don't know if we can say this in a podcast, but it's Tits and Ass Girl.
Yeah, you can.
The woman that was directing had been on Broadway, and they got me an agent.
Nice.
And and I was living in New York, and I remember I had to make a decision between a chorus line, the last production of a chorus line in New York City on Broadway, and a soap opera. Well, I couldn't pay the bills. So basically, I mean, I ate government cheese, and my family would send that to me in tuna fish. And so I made a decision to do the soap opera. And I remember calling my mother. My mother was like, they're paying you to talk? I was like, yeah. I used to walk into walls and, you know, walk like a duck because I was a dancer and hadn't quite learned how to make the adjustment. And that's pretty much how I got started, was through doing musical theater and then finding an agent. In actuality, my first agent, which is kind of cool trivia, I think she's passed now, but she was John Travolta's first agent.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm so aging myself. Not everybody doesn't know, but
and this first gig that you're talking is, was this the Guiding Light, the show?
Yeah.
Is this okay? All right. Yes.
Where
yeah. Because
I actually delivered a baby in a car because I had delivered elephants in the carnival. It was quite an intro to characters. I was like, but loved everyone. You know, so that was kind of the beginning of it. And then I transitioned to tour. I went to All My Children And then from there, I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So,
Yeah, that was in 91. The second the Ninja Turtle movies was in 91. Yeah.
you know, my son, when he was little,
Uh-huh.
he said, because I used to joke, you know, being an 80s,
Mm-hmm.
90s girl. And one day he came up to me and he was like, Mom, were there dinosaurs in the 80s?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, thanks, honey.
Well, you know, it's funny he says that, but like the Ninja Turtles sort of kind of look like I don't know, like in a way, like it comes to life.
Yeah.
It's not really like too far off, right? Because if he's gonna see you on screen and like you're talking to these, you know, talking turtles, it's almost like they are a dinosaur.
He didn't actually watch any of my stuff for a long time. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't have the interest. And I think it was a little weird for him, you know, because both he and his father, myself and his father are actors. So I think it was just strange. I remember him watching an interview that his father was doing, and he was like, it was weird. It's weird for kids. There's a funny turtle story, actually, when he was in nursery school.
Love to hear it.
I got a phone call from the woman who ran the Montessori, and she said, could you please come in? Just stop by when you come to pick David up. And I said, okay. So I go in, I'm thinking, what's going on? And they had show and tell.
Yeah.
Unbeknownst to me, his father had given him an April action figure.
Oh, okay.
So he goes to show and tell, and he holds the action figure up, and he says, this is my mother.
Yeah.
So for 5-year-olds, they were like, she said, they're all very confused because now they think his mother's an actual plastic.
Oh, okay. Like
I'm like, I'm sorry. I had no idea. I was so, you know, because you try to.
That's cute though. It's funny, you know.
Yeah, you try to protect your child. But yeah, and the turtles really, like, one of my stories that I love. I tested a lot with Michael J. Fox, and for his movies. This goes back to the 90s. And I walked into an audition with him, and he said, well, I have to ask you a favor. I said, okay. You know, I'm a nervous wreck, and I'm thinking, oh my God, this is Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
And he said to me, I need an autographed picture from you, if you wouldn't mind, for my son, Sam.
Yeah.
And I was like, you're like a huge movie star. And I'm thinking, really? Oh, of course. But he goes, yeah, it's going by his bedstand. So it was really cute. And it comes full circle because my son was a huge fan of Back to the Future.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I ended up testing with Michael for something else. And I walked in and I said, okay, so the tables are turned now. So it was like, it came full circle. And I said, could I possibly get, you know, my son loves you and loves, you know, Back to the Future. Could I get an autograph picture? And he did. And it was a really sweet moment in terms of being an actor. And, you know, it's fun. And it's fun having children because you know, it's such a different world, you know.
Yeah.
And it's interesting for them because you're mom and dad, right? I mean, he doesn't look at me as April O'Neil, you know, a mommy who's, you know, cooking breakfast, making snacks. But yeah, and it was a lot of fun doing Turtles. I mean, it was my first movie.
Yeah.
And who knew that it was going to be so iconic? You know, I mean, I'm sure they're your age now.
Yeah, I mean,
it's kind of weird, but I lived, you know, in New York City, and these young boys would slip notes under my door, and they would ask if the turtles were inside.
Wow, that's a cool story. I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
And they would leave me little notes under my door.
Yeah.
Cut to, as they got older, one of them in particular became this huge NFL football player.
Oh, wow.
I'm in the elevator with him and he's horrified. I said hi. And he was like, hi. He was so embarrassed when he was little.
Yeah, yeah.
So kids are amazing. You know, they're we don't think that they're as, I don't know, that they remember. I don't know. We don't give them enough credit. Because another time, you know, I was in a grocery and this little boy was tugging on his mom, and the mother taps me on the shoulder and she says, listen, could you please tell my son that you're not April O'Neil from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? And I looked at him and winked at him, and I looked at her and I went, can't do that. Because the mother horrified, the little boy was like, I told you.
Yeah, yeah.
Been a lot of fun. You know, it's a lot of fun to do something that iconic. It was a little weird for me in my first movie though, because I had moments definitely where I was like, okay, have I cracked up? Because I am talking to a life-size turtle.
Yeah.
There is a person looking out at me. Going, how is she talking to a turtle? You know, I hadn't acted for that long. You know? So it was interesting. It was a lot of fun.
Check this out. Check this out. Let me see if I can.
Oh, whoa!
That's Donnie right there.
I know that's Donatello.
Yeah, so this one's from the third movie. So you literally did act in front of this actual. It's the last remaining turtle Donatello head that exists, because a lot of them were like shredded and stuff, and not really many survive. But I have like a collection of movie props from different films, and I have a lot of stuff from Ninja Turtles, and so yeah. So that's you got to actually work with that Donatello head at some point for the third movie, which we'll talk about as well. But yeah, I mean, practical effects, right? I mean, in this world where everything is so CGI and everything, like what a treat that you got to work with these. Like you're saying, like they were like right in front of you. So like I think it helps with the acting and everything, because it's just like it's right there. You know, it's in your face.
There were, I mean, puppeteers.
Yeah.
They were brilliant. They were Jim Henson's puppeteers, and they were off to the side. So there was movement. The only thing that was different was I only got to hear a machine moving. So I couldn't hear them speaking.
That's true, yeah.
For the machine to stop moving to say my line.
Yeah.
I didn't really get to hear what they sounded like, you know, because I went into ADR. That's and I'll tell you, I'm really good at ADR because of the movie, because I ADR'd or, you know, did my voice for the whole movie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
The whole thing.
The whole thing.
You know, most of the time it's a couple lines here and there or a scene here and there, but the whole movie was ADR'd.
Yeah.
So I really learned how to do that. So a lot of the work, that was the hard part on set. Also not tripping over their marks because they were raised.
Yeah, yeah.
Dancer and McClutz. But there were three to, you know, there was the voice, stunt. And the heads for the stunt turtles were a lot lighter because the mechanical ones were very heavy.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fascinating to work with these puppeteers. It was incredible.
Yeah, you mentioned Jim Henson. There's also that transition from, because you actually were within the transition. So like the second movie had Jim Henson involved, and then the third movie, it completely changed. Yeah. Yeah,
very sad. Yeah, I don't know if mechanically Um, God, I was so green. I was so no, no pun intended, because I wasn't a turtle. But I don't think. I mean, I knew, but I don't think that I was that affected. I mean, like, I was affected that he had passed, right? But
Yeah.
they really tried to stay within what Jim had created.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. You got to see, since it was a different company that took over the third movie for the costumes, you got to see the actual turtles like change, because they actually look, from the second to the third movie, they actually look structurally a little bit different.
Yeah.
And even the tones and everything. How did you feel about that when you first saw that coming on set to the third movie?
I don't know. I mean, I don't think change is bad as long as it's not too dramatic, right?
Yeah.
But I think I was a little more concerned about the costume.
Oh, okay.
It was so heavy.
You're talking about in the third one, right? The third movie?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it was so unattractive. And it was so heavy. Because they really keep it within the realm of, you know, the world. But, yeah, it was different. It didn't distract me because the characters were the same.
Yeah.
You know? And there was so much change. It was like my hair was cut off. So which they wanted a different feel from me as well. So yeah, you felt the change, but it still felt kind of the same. It still felt organic, creatively as an actor. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The characters were the same, basically. You know, I mean, so the feel and the vibe was the same, except we were in Japan. I've just actually lately have been reconnecting. We've all kind of been reconnecting.
That's great.
Because there was a big anniversary of it. So
yeah.
All reconnected. And I actually met Judith at this goes maybe back 8 years ago or 7 years ago. And it was really fun meeting her. You know, I think for both of us, we were kind of like, hi.
Yeah.
I will say that my son went to go see the fourth one.
Okay.
And I am his mother, but he did say to me, he said, "Oh, Mom, you know, you're just not as hot as Megan Fox." And I thought, well, David, that's okay, because there's quite an age difference there, you know. But it was kind of weird for my kid to say that. I have not seen the fourth one. I'd be interested to see what they did with the CGI, because we didn't have that.
Yeah, no.
You know, it's kind of like watching, and I am not comparing to, but, you know, I mean, Spielberg's brilliant, but to Jaws, you know, I mean, there's no CGI. And
no.
Go, whoa, that's what we grew up with.
Yeah.
And how magical and how far we have come technologically.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, my son is in film school. Neither his father nor I wanted that for him. But it's kind of unavoidable.
Yeah.
He wants to be a director.
Oh, cool.
But he is so savvy with a lot of stuff that I'm like, okay. You know, it's kind of me trying to work my phone sometimes. I'm getting better.
Well, I mean, technology now, I mean, the new filmmakers, I mean, it is absolutely incredible what they're doing with iPhones now. And I mean, I saw some people taking, I watched this YouTube tutorial the other day on people taking photos with like iPhones and then comparing them to like, you know, $5,000 cameras that are DSLRs or mirrorless cameras that are digital to take video. And it's like, they're like, tell us the difference. And it's like, wait, what? Like, these two things shot the same thing and you have to decipher what did what. And it's like, it's amazing what the technology can do now in this new generation and age with all the I mean, there's a bunch of little filmmakers out there now everywhere making TikTok and reels and all this stuff. It's insane.
Well, my son is one of them, which is kind of fun. It's
Yeah.
I had something that I was doing about a month back, and it was during the holidays, and my son, because he's not, we live on different coasts sometimes, and he's in college, and he actually helped me do a particular thing, and I just sat there. I was like, whoa. He just took my phone and put a light, and I was like, whoa. I mean, it was incredible. And this is his first year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, this is, sorry, and I'm bragging about him, but of course, I'm his mother, but it was fascinating to watch because I've been for so long, and I was like, look at him go.
Yeah.
It takes me forever to make adjustments and to try to stay patient.
Oh, well, I mean, hey, if he's got it down, then that's all you need, right?
I had to ask my friend, I was like, am I that nerdy? I didn't even know what a podcast was. Like, I'm not a big, I'm learning. And she was, oh my God, he's so cool, which you are.
Thank you.
And I was like, of course I'll do it.
Yeah, podcasts are like,
I love that people love I love your generation. It's like cool for me.
Oh, it's everything to me. Like, it's my favorite franchise of all time, the Ninja Turtle movies.
How about Seth Rogen? Who knew that he was a turtle fan?
Oh yeah, because we're similar. We're like similar. I think he's a few years older than me, but we're close. We're the same like era.
Love him.
Yeah.
I'm watching him on Twitter. This goes back, and I think he bought some of the rights actually.
Okay.
And I'm watching him, and I'm going, oh, I'm such a huge fan of yours. I love him. He makes me. I love to laugh.
Yeah.
And, someday I will do a comedy.
Heck yeah, that's gonna be awesome.
People don't know that I'm funny, but I am.
Your son might be making comedies in the future. Now that hit the rate he's going, he might be making movies.
He told me though, he was like, "Don't count on me casting you." And I'm like, okay, well, by the time that happens, I'll be on a walker. So don't worry about it. No, it's really cool that Seth did that. I think that's really fun. I mean, I don't know too much about all of the selling and the buying and the whatever, but he seems like a really diehard, original Turtles fan,
Yeah.
Like somebody who loves the iconic part of it.
His film is supposed to be, of what I've read, it's supposed to be like an animated. But like in the style of like the more recent like Spider-Verse, the Marvel Spider-Verse. I don't know if you saw that one, like the Miles Morales movie, but it's like that style of it's gonna be the Ninja Turtles. This is what I heard. It's gonna be like Ninja Turtles, but in that style for the big screen. Yeah. So it's definitely gonna be different. Yeah.
I know, and it's interesting because we do have to move forward, which is why when you asked me the question, even about Turtles 3.
Yeah.
Oh, it's nice to be able to have. I mean, Turtles 3, we were, I guess, kind of forced into it because of Jim Henson. But who knows? I don't know for sure if that was like an actual choice, let's say, or that Jim had passed and different people were. I don't know 100%.
Yeah.
But it is nice to move forward.
I kind of want to go back to earlier what you said. So you were legitimately living in New York at the time when you were shooting Ninja Turtles 2. So like, I mean, look, honestly, you say like even like the kids that were like, that's April O'Neil. Like, you really are April O'Neil. Like, you really were like in an apartment there, like in New York. You're like the real deal, So like, I didn't know that either. Like, that's like mind blowing. It's just like. That's so freaking cool.
I didn't think of it that way, but it is kind of cool, right?
That is very cool.
I will tell you now, I did not have an apartment like April did. See, I walked in and I was like, hold on a minute. I'm
Yeah.
like, no, this is really big and really beautiful. Not that my place wasn't lovely, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, I lived in a studio, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
and so
Still.
and I'm like, only in the movies.
Yeah.
Because I was living in New York.
One of the props that I own is a full. I have the full Leonardo costume, which I obviously don't have right here because it's. I
Whoa,
need it.
no way.
Yeah, it used to be Kevin Eastman's, and like it's the whole thing. It's from the first movie, so it's legitimately Jim Henson. But like, it's so incredible to see that thing. But I can only imagine you being there in person at the time when that first came out. Like, what was your reaction when you first saw like an actual, guy in the turtle suit coming on set? Like, what was that like? What was that like? Oh, four of them, right? Four. I was gonna say when you saw one, but there's four, right? So even more.
Yeah, I think it was almost stranger.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Stranger, I don't think is the right word.
This is your first movie too, right? So that's
Yeah,
like.
I don't think strange is the right word. Different,
Uh-huh.
but oddly weird to see to see them with the body, and
Yeah.
that looked weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was far more accepting of because you really had you buy into your childlike imagination.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Mm-hmm.
who doesn't want to have a life-size toy? Really? Do you know what I know they were mutant turtles and whatever, but it's fantasy world, so who doesn't want to buy into their inner child? But when they would take the heads off, that was weird.
Yeah.
That was a little like, whoa. Okay,
Yeah.
so what I go back to, okay, someone's in there and they are watching me talk to a 5'5" green turtle.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, and then you kind of go, I just snorted. And then you kind of go, oh, wow. Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like, hi, yes, I have been talking to Leonardo, not to you. It's nice to meet you, you know?
Yeah, it's nice to meet you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to work with the Splinter puppet too, right?
Oh, no, I was just going to get to Splinter. So
Yeah.
when I first met Splinter, one of the guys, one of the turtles, because I don't know if they were the original in the original movie.
Uh-huh.
I'm not 100% on that.
Yeah, some of them, alternated for different
Yeah,
things.
I think they did, and the voices did as well.
Mhm.
I was so new in the industry, so some of the things that I would know now as an
Mhm.
actor, I just didn't back then. Do you know what I mean? I was so
Yeah.
focused,
Yeah.
so new for me.
Yeah.
And anyhow, so Splinter, yeah, it was it was a subway scene the first time
Yeah.
I met Splinter. And somebody, I don't remember who, said,
Uh-huh.
how is it talking to a rat with a man's arm up his arse? And I said, different. It's a little different.
Yeah.
So, but it was a lot of fun. The whole experience was great for me.
Yeah.
And we shot where they stored King Kong as well. So
Oh.
his head and his hand. And
Yeah.
had it out on the lot.
Uh-huh.
So not only am I working with green turtles,
Yeah. Yeah.
I have photos that I just found of me sitting in King Kong's hand
Oh, wow.
from the movie.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't know what they did because that studio, I never say it right, by the way, so I'm not going to say it. They sold, it used to be De Laurentiis's lot, and
Okay.
to another company. So who knows if it's still there, but they left that there.
Oh, wow.
And it was like going through a graveyard. It was really cool though. Sorry.
Yeah.
It was like,
That is super cool though. They leave it there because it was too big, or what was the reason for leaving it there?
huge. I mean, when I tell you, I how they shot the movie, but yeah, I mean, it was huge.
Yeah. Yeah.
The hand was
Wow.
the head was enormous. But yeah, it was like the beginning of my career was like kind of spectacular. Like,
Yeah, that's
you know,
incredible.
this world kind of like, and being a classical ballet dancer, whoo, I mean, this is all really like fantastical, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
It was like, talk about like the magic of movies and going,
right?
oh, and who's this little girl from basically from Springfield, Mass, who,
He's April O'Neil. That's you take on that's the
yeah,
responsibility of holding that, you know? Yeah.
oh, this is kind of cool. I mean, the fear, I didn't have any. I just did my work and was classically trained as a dancer, so I just kept working at my craft, and
Yeah.
yeah, that was interesting to start that way.
Yeah. So when you did the Turtles film and did you have to go through uh like a long audition process, or your agent just
Yeah, I was very
here?
I was on All My Children,
Mm-hmm.
and I went in and I read.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got a call back for producers,
Okay.
and then they flew me down to the studios in North Carolina.
Yeah.
And then they offered me the job.
On the third movie that followed, which came out in '93, the set that you filmed in, that's like a subway, I had read something where they model it after some subways in New York, but it was actually a set piece, right? Or what's the story behind the set? Because it looked
Yeah.
incredible. That set looked incredible.
It was a set.
Uh-huh.
We shot the second one in North Carolina,
Uh-huh.
and then we shot the third one in Oregon.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And wow, it was beautiful up there. But yeah, and the sound stages up there were absolutely huge. We had horses and everything on sound stages.
Yeah, that movie really had a feeling of like they like completely picked everybody up and dropped them off in this world of ancient Japan. Like, you know, like it really, they did a good job on that. I don't think that movie gets enough credit for the scope of it. And even the atmosphere, like John Dupre did the soundtrack for that. John Dupre, who did the soundtrack for the Ninja Turtles movie, he was actually my first guest on this show that I ever had.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was great talking to him because he lives in UK. Yeah, definitely the atmosphere and the mood of that movie I think is so underrated, because obviously a lot of people, they say, you know, 1 and 2 are their favorites, but I like number 3 also. I like all of them. I think there's something great about all the Ninja Turtle movies that I really, really like, you know?
I do too. I 3 was interesting because for me, well, I mean, how funny is it? Sorry, that, you know, what's a Walkman? And now my kid, what's a Walkman? Do you know what I mean? How far technology has come even from then? You know, the second one, they went very extreme from the first one in terms of comedy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It up because they got some backlash from the first one being too dark.
Yeah.
That's the, you know, sausage nunchucks and
Yeah.
you know, it was a little goofier.
Uh-huh.
Enter my character, which was fun. But the third one, I thought it was cool. Like when I thought it was really cool to integrate, you know, the turtles with horses. You know,
that was really cool. And you know what? The third one, you actually got to do some action, like in that one. You know,
I begged for that.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
Tell me about that. I'd love to hear that story.
I have to ask for that, and I'm incredibly athletic, so sometimes I'm like, really, you know, the last show that I just did, the 100, it was like, I know I'm a doctor, but come on, like, can I kick some butt?
Yeah.
Actually, when I was on the agency, I got to have a scene, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But yeah, it was really fun. I love that. You know, being an ex-dancer, anytime I can move, it's a freedom for me. But we have fun doing stunts. I
Yeah.
don't, you know, I would love to now. They would never have me do it. I mean, at this point, but although look at Tom Cruise.
Yeah. No. You can
They
pull it off.
don't want you to because of liability, you know, because if it happens, then they have to stop production. So, but yeah, well, all right. It's not such a big secret. I'm really allergic to horses. Okay.
Okay.
No, horribly. And, you know, there's only so much Benadryl you can take and still act.
Yeah.
So they, for Turtles 3, they had me take lessons.
Oh, on the horseback riding lessons.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And Elias was so kind. I hadn't met him yet. Sitting there, and I was so nervous because I'm so allergic. And I'm trying to get the loop off, and I'm a wreck. And he comes over and he helped me. He was so gracious. And I get on set when I'm supposed to shoot the scene. And director comes up to me and I said, so where are the horses? He said, oh no, I've been taking lessons for over a month. He's like, no, we've decided against it.
Oh, wow.
The woman who was teaching me said, don't put her on a horse.
Oh, okay.
Because I was awful.
Yeah.
And I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I thought, whoa, I'm going to get to ride a horse. And they were like, no.
Is there anything that you remember shooting in the second or third movie that did not get used that you were like, what the heck? Like, this should have been in there. Like, is there anything like that? You oftentimes hear about some stories like that where there was things that were cut out that, you know.
I had just taken lessons. I mean, we had a ton of bloopers. You know, because sometimes, God bless those turtles. Like, they had to feel for their marks, and, you know, I could barely see them when they would shoot. They had to close the slits up, and we used to call them head brakes, you know, because they would overheat.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I have a ton from the 100. Or they cut the scenes down, you know, call it trim fat.
Yeah.
But not so much in Turtles.
That kind of puts it into perspective, because then it kind of shows that, like, they were really, like, they were really trying to use everything they got, you know?
I'm sure they made some adjustments. I wouldn't be that aware of them. You know?
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't be aware of them. I would be aware of them, but not that I can recall. I think everything ended up being in there.
Kind of bouncing off there on what you're saying right now on some of the other shows that you've done, because you've done a lot of other things. I mean, even like on your IMDb, like a lot of television actually. And so you've done movies and television. Can you kind of like, as like an actress, can you kind of like break down like some of the difference between, because you're on such a different schedule for television, right? Versus like movies, and even like, you know, reciting lines when they yell action, you know what I mean? Like, can you kind of go into that, the differences between the two? Because I know there are differences, because I used to actually do stunt work and stuff on music videos and films, so I've been around it. I wasn't really the one saying the lines per se, but I was there watching it happen, and I've seen the differences. But it'd be great to hear from a professional like yourself, you know?
It's more the pace.
Yeah.
In a movie, they may take a whole day or 2 days for a scene or a half a scene.
Yeah.
Television, you do a lot of scenes.
Yeah.
Or pages. I should say pages. That's much more professional. You shoot less pages in a movie per day.
Yeah.
But, you know, there again, I say that, you know, it depends on the movie. If it's an independent movie, you're going to move as fast as television. if it's a huge feature or they have the time, the amount of pages you do a day is less. The scene is the scene.
Yeah.
You know, you don't really adjust your acting.
Okay.
A lot of times in movie, to me, this is just my take on it. There's a lot more time in film or features to have the moments in between the lines.
Okay.
Sometimes in television, you have to you don't get as much breathing room.
That's what I was going to ask. Okay.
Yeah. You learn how to kind of act on the line. I don't really know how to describe that. It's tighter. You don't have the pace can be different, you know, because they don't have enough time.
Yeah.
I mean, when they're airing it, you know, so sometimes there isn't enough time to really feel and fill those moments out.
I was going to ask you that on the flexibility of the scripts as well. Like how off or on point do you have to be for certain things? I guess that could depend on the directors too, right? Can you do some improv on some things? Because especially on some of these shows, like on the 100, I mean, you're on 85 episodes of the 100 alone, you know, and then you've done Law and Order, NCIS, like a lot of different shows, and like you're saying exactly what you said, like it's a bit different with these because the movie, they got to put it out, right? And time is money for them, and you know they're doing this big budget thing. But on these shows, though, they're on a tighter schedule, so they're like, we got to get this done. This already has to be in the editing bay. Someone's got to be working on it already and chopping it up. So sometimes I feel with some of those shows, they'll be accepting of like, not want to say like not perfection from certain individuals, but like they'll be so fast paced that they might just be like, oh, fine, good, we'll use that one. We got to do the next thing already, you know?
You just have to be able to drop in a lot faster.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and sometimes television, if you do a lot of television, there are some actors who I'm sure would say maybe when they've done movies the goal is to keep it fresh, right? Because you're doing it many more times.
Yeah.
And I think that primarily has to do with your background, right? How much rehearsal you need and how well you know your character, how many years the show has been going. You really kind of dig in when you know, after 6 years, you know your character. If you become a drug addict, like I did in the 5th season of the 100, you still have a really good gauge for your character. But I think that a lot of it has to do with pace too. You know, you'll hear directors say, pick up the pace, and that has to do with the fact that you can't go long, what they call going long. They have to keep a certain amount of time, you know, for each scene, and it's juggling. I mean, and that's really an editor and producer kind of, and the director. You don't think about that when you're acting. You know, that's kind of not your job, but other than sometimes if you know there's not going to be a lot of breathing room, kind of learn how to, and I hate to say it because it makes it sound like not great, but it is a little bit like acting on the line.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, it doesn't mean that it's not organic. It's just a little bit of a different muscle. I went from Party of Five and I would leave that set and go to NYPD Blue, and there's such different shows, right?
That's true. You were doing that at the same time, right? That is interesting.
I used to get the question all the time, do you get confused as to your characters? My characters were so different that I never got confused. You know, never.
Yeah, I mean, because coming from like my background, even when I would be there to do stunts and stuff back when I was doing it, it was always this sense when I was in that industry where like I was hired and then this is how I phrase it, or I've heard some people phrase it, I was hired and then I was fired. So it's like I was on, I got the gig, I did what I had to do, but then that was it. Like the gig was over, I had to go find another gig, you know? So it was like this constant thing At the time, I was skateboarding. They had me do a lot of skateboard stuff all the time, or I'd always play like bad guys, and I get shot, and I go flying, and it was always kind of the same thing over and over again. But I just see all these things and all these sets, and I was just so enthralled with seeing the process. And even when it was like, you know, they gave me the check as, hey, you're done, kid, you can go. I'd be like, can I just hang around? Because I just like to see the.
As an actor, I love to watch stunts.
Yeah.
So it's the same. I would always go, and especially when you have a stunt double. I for 5 years I had the same stunt double, and she was amazing. She would watch what I would do in a scene, and she looked like it was really weird, like her profile and everything. And I loved her. She was great on the 100. She was amazing. And but I would always want to watch. You know? But so we do the same thing. Like, well, I do as an actor. You be able to see what's happening. You're supposed to anyway. I remembered do one stunt.
Oh, okay.
This is years ago. It was on American Gothic.
Okay. American Gothic.
And I was supposed to, because I was carrying Satan's baby.
Just that line alone that you said right now.
Jump off a building.
Oh, okay.
This is in North Carolina. So I said to the stunties, I was like, I can do this. And they had like they built a false ledge. Right? Okay. It was still a big drop.
Yeah.
And they had all the mats. I ended up doing it, but when I hit hard because the pads that they had there started to freeze because it was so
yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Fun, and then I went that again. You know, because it did start to get cold. And they freeze. Yeah. But that was one of the only stunts. I have done some driving.
Oh, okay.
I wouldn't get in the car with me, but that can be fun. If there's nothing around, it can be kind of fun.
Yeah.
And I did on the 100.
Yeah.
But it was always pouring rain or 3 a.m, and it was freezing cold, jumping through a hole. It wasn't like anything big, you know. Well, for my character.
But still, it's action, you know? It's still action. That's awesome. Yeah.
It is fun. I was always saving people's lives. And the pace was, you know, good. That was a tricky show. That was a rough show to shoot because of the weather. And everybody got along great. It was one of those things where you go, wow, like, for such a big cast, everyone was really great to one another.
That is awesome. That is awesome. And that where was that shot? All the 100
on the side of Mount Seymour.
Okay. In Canada, right? Vancouver.
Which has the most feral animals out of all the mountains in Vancouver.
Oh wow. Okay. So you all definitely saw some crazy.
Oh, is there bear?
Okay. Yeah.
And then you would get on set and step in bear poop.
Some of those bears are no joke, though.
Honestly, it's spring when their babies are around.
Yeah.
You know, that you have to really be careful. That's when but you know, there's so many people around. Normally they don't like sound.
Yeah.
You know, but you know, when you're asked to go deeper into the woods at 3 a.m. for their shots, we would go, no. And the young one's like, yeah, we're fine. And as you get older, you're going, I'm game for almost anything, but I don't know about that.
Yeah.
So, but we had a lot of fun, you know. I mean, silly things, and we had to keep a huge sense of humor because the show was incredibly dark.
Yeah.
You know, really dark. And so we laughed a lot and cried a lot, maybe even complained a little at times.
It was a lot of episodes and a long show, so like you grow with people, you know, that happens.
We were, and no one, I can't recall anybody having like personality conflicts or that's why I said what I said at the beginning. It was kind of amazing.
Yeah,
You know,
that's spectacular. Yeah.
expect that, and there really wasn't. Not that I recall, but you know, I kind of got a little bit isolated toward the end because my story became very compact.
But that's good because I've been on sets where I've seen drama, and I'm just like I was hired for like a little thing, and like I'm watching the main people not get along, and I'm like, oof, like I don't have to be here tomorrow, but I can only imagine these people.
Yeah, I experienced that, and that's why. I don't know if it's maybe too because the show is that difficult.
Yeah,
physically grueling. Hour-wise on the side of a mountain, freezing cold, pouring rain. I don't know if there was time for it because our energy was
drained.
Yeah. So I maybe there just wasn't any time. I don't know. And they finished in the nick of time, right before.
Nice. Yeah.
And
That's
last jobs. I had COVID so bad I can't even watch it. I don't even look like myself.
Oh wow! Yeah, you were sick, and you're going through it.
We didn't know it was in January.
Yeah, that must be
but we didn't
scary
know. Yeah, I just knew I'd never been sick like that, and I've been through a ton of being sick. I really have. And I was like, "Whoa, this is different."
Yeah,
you know. And I know it's like a taboo subject, except I don't feel like it's taboo. It just
no.
It just right.
I'm glad you're better and recovered from that. You know.
I don't think I've told anyone that I. I mean, at this point now, it doesn't really matter. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's like no joke. Like when that happened early on, like that. Because I also own a comic book store, and I had two customers, like two regulars that passed away from it, and it was very devastating. And then also because I had a comic book store, we were labeled non-essential, and they actually closed us. Like we weren't allowed to open, so it affected business at that time. Yeah, so it was heavy when it hit like that. It was heavy.
Holy cow!
Ordinary questions with extraordinary individuals. What is your favorite color?
White and pink.
What is your favorite artist or band of all time?
U2.
What is your favorite movie of all time?
Well, I love Mel Brooks.
Awesome. So Mel Brooks films?
Yeah, I love Mel Brooks films.
What is your favorite snack or dessert of all time?
Quadrantini wafers.
Oh, okay.
Dark chocolate.
What is one place you have not traveled to yet that you still want to visit?
Spain.
What is your favorite franchise or nostalgic property of all time?
I mean, wow, I don't.
Actually, you have like a favorite television show of all time?
I love, okay. True.
Because that would technically be it.
True Confession.
You know?
I love IDTV.
That's actually cool because like you like IDTV, but like you have actually been in shows that are like, you know, kind of in so do you watch like a lot of like murder documentaries and mysteries and unsolved things like that?
I love them. Like Eva Lives Here, my favorites. There's new ones out now. There's a brand new one called something, I think Death by Fame.
Yeah.
But Eva Lives Here, I think, is probably one of my favorites. And then See No Evil, which it's murders that they solve with cameras.
Yeah.
And I had no idea about CC cameras. And I was, shit. So there was a while, and I did Person of Interest, which, by the way, is one of my favorite characters that I've ever played. Just
nice.
I love Zoe. But I thought that was just made up. I had no idea until I watched reality TV.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah, they exist.
Yeah.
That is my guilty pleasure.
Do you think in another, like you know how they say like if you weren't doing this, what would you be doing? Do you think you would want to be like, you know, a detective, or like, you know, like that would be your other?
God, I would love to be a forensic scientist.
Uh-huh. That is cool.
I have two things.
Uh-huh.
Be a forensic scientist, and the other, yeah, forensic scientist. Yeah. How cool would that be?
You like legitimately are into those things, and then like earlier we were saying like you were April O'Neil like in New York in an apartment, but like you like legitimately were like living in New York in an apartment, and like you're very
What
like true.
Life imitates art.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm still caught in the franchise. I guess I've never. I mean, you know, I'm going to sound very girly, but I guess I liked Barbie. I mean, in the 60s, we didn't really.
Uh-huh.
You know, I mean, Star Wars didn't come out until the 70s.
Yeah.
So we didn't really. I was too busy dancing, too.
Yeah. Did you hold on to any of like your old Barbies from back then, or no? Some of them went up in value. That's why there's some that are very valuable now.
Them to death.
Yeah.
They're really not worth anything.
Well, no, if they're originals, even used, they're still worth. Yeah.
I have a 1960s Ken doll.
Oh, that's
and I
even
have the original Malibu Barbie from the 70s.
nice.
I do have, but they've been played with. I mean, like really played with.
Yeah, didn't the I can't remember. Did the Malibu Barbie come with like a car too? Like a
Oh, you had to buy that separately.
Oh, okay, nice.
And when I was little, I come from a long line of engineers on one side and a long line of doctors on my dad's side. And I wanted to be a doctor. I wanted to be a pediatrician.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to act. I didn't want to, you know.
Yeah.
And although I did put plays on in my backyard.
Uh-huh.
Do you know what I mean? I was bossy boots. That went away very quickly when I went to school. But yeah, I had a townhouse and my friend would come over and we would play Barbies, and this is like in the 70s, you know? And at that point I was like, I'll be the doctor, the nurse. Okay. Anyhow, anymore? I like these questions. They're fun.
Yeah. If you could offer one last bit of advice to anyone out there trying to pursue their passions, what would it be?
You just go for it. You know, a lot of it too, like you just, if there's nothing else that you want to do, you just go for it. You just do it. And I have to say, because it's a tricky question for me, because from the time I was 8, wanted to be a dancer, and it was happening. And then it was done in half a heartbeat. And I stayed open and found a way to dance, you know? So you just have to kind of stick with what you love and still be open and move with it.
Yeah.
You know, because that's how we grow. I am a true believer you follow your heart. You know?
Yeah. Follow your heart, and it won't do you wrong if you really truly love the thing that you're doing.
It stinks. You know, we're not really taught how to do that. But yeah, because your instincts have to do with your passion.
I believe.
And believe, you know, that you have something to offer, something to give to the world. I believe that, you know? Yeah. Okay. What's a bonus one?
The bonus question is, this is just for this. You're the only person I've ever added a bonus question, because we need to get an answer to this. Who is your favorite Ninja Turtle? Raphael, Donatello, Michelangelo, or Leonardo?
I have to say, you know, I really loved each one of them. And I mean that sincerely. That's like asking a mother who their favorite child is.
Yeah.
You can't do that. It is true. You know, you can't ask a mother that, because I kind of like their older sister, mother. No, I loved all of them.
Yeah.
Because their personalities were so different as well.
So that's the coolest thing about the Ninja Turtles is how they all have such different personalities, you know?
I can't say anything.
They all have their cool moments, you know?
One of them for what their personalities were.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I mean, I can probably tell you Mikey made me laugh the most. You know? Yeah. He made me giggle. He did such silly things. Yeah.
That is awesome. Awesome. So, Paige, what an absolute honor to speak to you.
Oh my gosh, so much fun to talk to you.
Show.
Thank you. This was
I mean,
fun.
Yes, I mean, honestly, like it's not only were you a fantastic guest, but this is also like a dream come true for me to get to speak to you and talk to you. So super awesome. Thank you so much. Is there anything that you want to plug before we sign on?
I'm just really grateful to have been a part. So when I hear how it affected in a great way your generation, sorry, who knew? I'm grateful that I could be a part of an iconic movie, you know, and I don't think anybody realized, even in the first, no one realized that it was going to be. So I'm grateful for that. Like, I don't take that or take anything for granted, you know. I'm very grateful about that because it really started my career. Well, I mean, yeah, but in terms of features and kind of owning, this is what I want to do with my life.
That is.
But thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, what is the saying, like, don't meet your heroes or something like that? But it's like, seriously, like, you are as wonderful as I could have imagined April O'Neil being, and to finally meet you and, you know, you being like that, yeah, you're amazing, Paige. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. That's a huge compliment. Thank you. And I'm very appreciative. I really am. Thank you.